This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glyn Lavender.
Hi, and welcome to episode 530 of Shutters Inc. This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com, and joining me once again from Melbourne, Victoria, it is Mr. Glyn Lavender from creativephotoworkshops.com.au. Hey, you? How are you?
Next question. No, I'm okay. I'm still here.
That's a good thing.
And I'm still here.
Excellent.
I'm both of those.
Right. Fantastic. How's your last 2 or 3 weeks been?
It's been a while. Well, I've had man flu.
Oh.
And still suffering the odd from it.
Right.
Which is no good. No, it's been okay. It's been uneventful, sort of. Yeah. I've got a backyard finally got finished being renovated.
Nice.
Which is good. And they finished that off like last Friday, so 5 days ago or something. So it's nice to actually.
So that ran over time.
Well, they had to custom make these screens for us, and that took time. So they finished everything but this one thing, and then they had to sit there and wait until these custom screens, which took like 3 weeks.
Right.
So yeah. And then they came back and spent half a day putting that together and finishing it off. So
nice. And you're happy with the result?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, they did a great job. Yeah, and they were like $30,000 cheaper than the other. We only had 2 people quote.
Wow.
And one was $60,000 and the other one was half price.
Wow.
Guess which one we took?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the 60 because we figured it must be twice as good.
Yeah, that's right.
No way. In fact, he was even less than that. So it was, and he's even going, and if I can save you some money here or there, I will.
Yeah, right.
And then he went above and beyond, did more stuff that wasn't in the original quote.
Wow.
Just as doing a good job,
Yeah,
so
gotta love people like that.
Yeah, there was only one problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he liked to talk.
Right.
And I'm not sure how they got any work done because he could talk. I mean, he made me feel like a wallflower. Oh Lord! And if I didn't know every single thing about his life and his business and his kids, and you'd remember it because he told you the same story like 5 times every day.
Right.
So you kind of At the end of the I think the second week, I was actually telling him his stories, and I think he might have a bit of dementia because it was like he was hearing them for the first time. Really, yeah. And then my son was off kicking goals in soccer in Adelaide. Well, my son was too. Wasn't that funny? So, but job all done. So I took some photos.
Nice.
I got my drone out. I went up 30 foot up in the air, took a photo and brought it down again.
Right. And have you posted that on social media?
No.
Right.
I don't put photos of my property or my. I don't do much of any personal stuff on social media anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah, hard. I mean, I don't. I think the last thing I did was my wife's birthday.
Yep.
So I think, or was it our anniversary? I know, I can't remember. But just saying, it's been great being your better half. It's lovely for you having me as your better half, and that went down well. And that's the last thing. So I don't really post at all on social media. I've posted a little bit in the footy pages. I have a couple of private groups there, and give my wise and insightful views on the world of football from my vast non-knowledge of non-practical experience. But of course, like any male, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But see, my team, a bit like your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're battling for the bottom spot at the moment by fractions of a percentage point.
We're fending you off beautifully.
Well, actually, halfway through your game last week, we flipped.
Yeah.
At the live later, we flipped. You went up and we went down, but then you lost by even more. So then we swapped back over again.
That's right.
But for a while there, it was pretty darn close to who was the worst.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say you guys are the worst because, I mean, you've actually got good players in your team and you're still playing badly. Yeah. We had nothing but kids in our team and playing badly. So I think, who would I rather be? Not you.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, of course, you barrack for the same team as my mother-in-law. Right. So it's kind of good. You being so bad, I get to pick on her as well. So, we're still fighting out who was the best team of the 90s, your team or my team.
Clearly my team, because we won 2 premierships in that time.
We won 2 premierships and you won 2 premierships.
Oh, did North Melbourne win 2 in that?
Yeah, see, that's where and we won a night premiership, which you didn't.
Right.
And not that it counts for much, but it's still one extra win.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So in the same period, we both won the same amount of, which is like the Super Bowl for an American listener.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing debate about who was the better team of the 90s.
Right.
I'd have to say you guys have been better teams since then, though.
Yeah, we had a good run through the noughties.
Yeah, we did.
And the teens, but yeah, it's all gone to crap now.
Fallen in a massive pile of dung. Yeah. God, so we don't talk about football much, but and one other thing that sort of gave me a little bit of pleasure was my noticed both of my kids actively taking photos without any prompting from me. Like,
Sweet. Gotta love that.
Only with iPhones, but they're out there. I mean, on their own will. Like my daughter, my eldest, and my wife went away for the weekend in the city, and everywhere they went, my eldest got the phone out and working out cool angles and shooting stuff left, right, and centre, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And today was parent-teacher interview day for my youngest son's school.
Right.
And so, of course, it means no school for the kids.
Yep.
Unbelievable scam these teachers have. So I did. So we went out at the countryside today with the youngest one, and she got my phone and taking photos all over the place. So it's kind of cool to see.
Nice.
And then when I got home, my eldest had to do a photo project for one of the classes, and she was showing me the photos, and they were really good.
Nice.
Not great, but they were interesting. They weren't just snaps. They had some thought and some angles and some attitude. And she directed she was photographing other kids in school.
Yeah, right.
She was directing them as to how to pose and stuff, and so it was
awesome.
Pretty well done. So that was kind of slightly lavender photographic related.
Nice. That's great.
Genetic photography or something. Yeah. Yeah, so that's about my extent of photography for the last month. But you went on a big trip, and did you take any photos?
I did, and it's just occurred to me I haven't actually exported any that I can flick to you right now as we're recording. Other than
what was the trip like, though? Tell us about the trip first.
It was.
What happened?
Anecdote City. Honestly, we could fill a 2-hour podcast.
Well, we've got nothing to talk about, so you might as well at least start and get a bit of it down. Give us a couple of examples.
So it started with me flying out of Sydney on the Friday afternoon.
I thought you were driving.
No, driving back.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
So flew over.
Yeah.
We were 50 minutes late getting out of Sydney, but we were 30 minutes late arriving into Perth. So they picked up 20 minutes while we were in the air.
Tailwind.
Yeah. And when we arrived, it was raining. And my auntie had said to me, when you land, send me a text. We only live 10 minutes away. We'll hop in the car and we'll come over to the airport. And by the time you got your luggage and everything, we'll be there and blah, blah, blah. So as soon as we've hit the runway, I've turned my phone off aeroplane mode, and straight away I get a text from her saying, we're in the airport. I was thinking, okay, they obviously didn't realise that we were running late, and they've just, known the time that I was meant to land, and they haven't heard from me, so they've come early, So anyway, I get off the plane, go down to the baggage collection hall, and the carousel's not running. So anyway, I wandered through the luggage hall and I eventually found them. They were standing right over to one side because they didn't bring masks with them because they weren't thinking about coming into the terminal.
Yeah.
So standing there, we're having a chat, and 15 minutes has gone by and 20 minutes has gone by.
Did you ask them what the hell they were doing there? Just quietly, just as an aside?
So half an hour goes by, the carousel is still not running, and I said, wouldn't you think by now they would have announced, that there's some sort of hold up and, this is the reason, and maybe...
And you've moved to another carousel?
Maybe an ETA on when our baggage will be here or something, but no, nothing. 45 minutes has gone by,
Jeez. Carousel
still not running. Probably about 3-4 minutes after that, the carousel starts moving. Big cheer goes up. And of course I have my jacket and my camera bag, so I said, look, if you don't mind looking after these, I'll just rip over, grab my suitcase, and I'll be back in a sec. So off I go. get my suitcase, which is a typical soft canvas suitcase.
Yeah.
It is drenched.
Sitting out the rain for...
Absolutely drenched. So I came back with my suitcase and I said, oh, well, at least we've got a complimentary luggage wash while we were waiting. So then we hop in the car, we leave the airport, and my auntie's sitting in the back so that I could sit in the front because, you know, I'm taller than she is. So she's directing her husband and telling him, oh, don't go that way. Google Maps is telling you to go this way. So he's headed off down some other freeway and couldn't work out. And then she's looking at her phone. She's going, oh, my goodness, it's taken us here and there and blah, blah, blah. She goes, no, forget this. Just get off at the next exit and do a U-turn and get back on here and go back and we'll get onto the freeway that we normally go along. So we do that and end up in the mother of all Perth traffic jams.
Oh,
and eventually got back to their place 50 minutes later.
Must be cursing you.
Yeah, so and then we went out for dinner, which they insisted on driving to. It was a restaurant around the corner that you literally could have walked across the street. It was 200 metres away.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. And then their son, Mark, my cousin, he had said to me, you know, that he would come out to Bruce Rock for the funeral, obviously, you know, drive his car out there, and then I could, you know, pick up my dad's car and, you know, on the Monday morning, he'd go back to Perth and I'd head east. So, so we did that. We drove out on the Saturday, and honestly, the number of things that were just spanners in the works between then and the funeral on Sunday afternoon was just incredible. They made up some bookmarks that are sort of like a memorial bookmark kind of thing. And so she gave me those and the plaque to go on the niche wall because we'd had Dad cremated.
Yeah.
In a paper bag, and you know, and of course we were still in Mark's car, and so when we left there, we put the bag in the car, and we've gone back to the unit that we were staying at, and we're sitting there we're just, you know, shooting the breeze before we headed off for bed, and the ashes came in a hard plastic container, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like about the height of a 2-litre milk carton, but maybe not quite as deep. Not as full of milk. Yeah, exactly, that too. And Mark says to me, it will fit in the hole in the wall, won't it?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, there's only 3 crematoriums in Western Australia, and they're all run by the state government, and this is the local council, which is essentially local government.
This is the standardised container.
Yeah, you would think that they would know what each other... Yeah, you're right, we should really check that out. So Sunday morning, we wake up, we go and grab some brekkie in town, and then we drive out to the cemetery, which thankfully is only, 3-4 minutes out of town.
Yeah, it's such a big place.
Yeah, exactly.
What was traffic like?
Pretty non-existent. Yeah. So we get out there. I grabbed the canister out of... It came in like a little... your canvas shopping bags?
Yeah.
It's like one of those, but it was custom made for the size of the canister.
Oh, yeah.
So I lifted the canister out, slide it into the hole. It fits into the hole, but you push it all the way back, and there's 1.5 inches of the canister sticking out from the front of the wall. I'm like, you have got to be kidding.
Oh,
So this is 9:30, so we've got 5 hours until the ceremony to find...
To lose some weight.
Exactly. to find an alternate canister. So we jump back in the car. And of course, by this stage, I've picked up Dad's car, so we're just going everywhere in Dad's car. So we drive back to my auntie's place, and I said to her husband, you're not going to believe this. The canister doesn't fit in the wall. It fits in the hole, but it sticks out. We need to find a smaller container. So he's like, oh, okay. He said, well, I'll have a hunt around, see what I can find. I said, all right, while you're doing that, we're going to go up to the shed where he had dumped all of my dad's stuff when they cleared out Dad's apartment. Because this shed, which is at my other uncle's house, is essentially a living museum. There is stuff from my dad's dad, stuff from my nan. Now,
so it'd be a dead museum then?
Yeah, pretty much. Now there's dad's stuff in there, and yeah, there's just all this crap in there. So anyway, so we've headed up there, walked in, and literally within 15 seconds, I see this glass jar that's round but tall, but not as tall as the...
but 1.5 inches or so shorter than...
Yeah, and I said to Mark, I said, mate, look at that. I said, I reckon that's almost perfect. I said, grab the ashes. So he grabs the ashes container and we compared the bases of the two. I was like, man, that's going to fit. And sure enough, it's 1.5 inches shorter than the canister that the ashes are in. So... then it was a case of, okay, is there a lid for it? So I look around and there's some shelves, and sitting on one of these shelves was just this screw cap. And I said, man, that looks like it might be the lid that goes with this jar. Pick it up, sure enough, it screws on. It's like, wow, how easy was that? Because I was thinking, this is just
too easy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we jumped back in the car, and I said, okay, before we get too excited, let's just take a run out to the cemetery and make sure that this fits in the wall. So out we go to the cemetery. Sure enough, fits in the wall, doesn't stick out. Hop back in the car, back round to my auntie's place. So just need to clean up this jar, and the lid that we'd found was all rusty. And I said to my uncle, I said, have you got an angle grinder that we can maybe just brush it clean? And he said, better than that. He said, I've got a can of spray paint that dries in 5 minutes. It's like, sweet. So he and Mark went out to spray paint this lid while I'm washing out the jar. And then Mark comes back to me and he says, mate, just out of respect, he said, I don't think we should transfer the ashes here. We should probably go back to the unit and do it. I said, yep, good call. So we jump back in the Fairlane, drive back round to the unit, and we've got a funnel to transfer.
How are you doing this?
And I said to Mark, I said, we've got to find somewhere out of the wind, because there's a wind blowing, right? So there we are, crouched down actually in between the two cars, with this glass jar on the ground, the funnel in the top, and Mark's pouring the ashes in. And about 95% of the ashes fitted into the jar.
Oh, no. Hence the extra 1.5 inches.
So I just said, you know what? I don't care. We're just leaving the
so his hair's not going in.
I said, as far as I'm concerned, the bit that didn't fit was the coffin. So, so we've screwed the lid on, and we've put the glass jar back into the canvas bag that the ashes had originally come in. Yeah. And I said, do you think people might be a bit perturbed at seeing the ashes in the glass jar? And he said, well, look, just keep it in the canvas bag right until the moment when you're going to stick it in the wall, and then exactly, just ninja move straight in there and we're good to go. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So at this point, we're thinking we're home and hosed.
Fatal last words.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, it would have been about, I'm thinking 1:15, 1:30. So we're about an hour away from the ceremony. Oh, that's right. We'd ordered on our way back from my auntie's back to the unit to transfer the ashes. We dropped into the Roadhouse and we ordered a couple of toasted sandwiches for lunch, with the understanding that Mark would, after we'd done the ashes, Mark was going to go and have his shower. I'd go back to the Roadhouse, pick up the sandwiches, bring them back to the unit. He'd have his. I'd jump in the shower. Blah blah blah. So I've gone back, picked up the sandwiches, come back. And I've jumped in, had my shower, jumped out to get dressed, into a suit, and suddenly realised I haven't ironed my shirt. And, of course, the unit has got no iron in it. So it's pull on a T-shirt, jump back in the car, drive back round to my auntie's place. I need to use your iron. So iron my shirt, get dressed, hop in the car. I said to my auntie and uncle, we'll see you out there at the cemetery. So, and my uncle had said to me, can you take this little garden table? The minister asked us to provide a small table. I said, okay, no problem. And as we're driving out there, I said to Mark, I said, look, I've got my phone, which has got the music for the funeral, and I've got a Bluetooth speaker. Are you happy to just play the music when I give you the nod? And he went, yeah, absolutely. I went, sweet. So we drive out to the cemetery. This is about 10 to 2. No, it must have been about 2 o'clock. We're about half an hour away. And we get out there, hop out of the car, pull my suit jacket on, grab the table and the speaker and the phone, and we walk over to where the minister's there, and there's half of the guests are already there. And I said to the minister, where did you want the table? And she said, wherever you want it. And I said, well, what's it for? And she said, to put the ashes on and the plaque. And I've looked at Mark and gone, where's the plaque? So I said, you wait here. I'll rip back to the unit. It must be at the unit. Off I go. So I jump in the car, absolutely fang it back into town, get to the unit, open up the unit. There is no sign of the plaque anywhere. I'm like, what the hell? Because the bookmarks are with it as well. I'm looking all through the unit, cannot find it. I'm like, By this stage, it's about 20 past 2. I'm thinking, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I've gone and jumped back in the car, driven back out to the cemetery. Mark comes up to me, he goes, you didn't find it, did you? And I went, no. He goes, you know where it is? I went, no. He goes, it's still in my car. I went, jeez. I said, well, look, here, take the keys to the Fairlane, you go, I'll get things going here and just, tell everyone that we're only a couple of minutes away. So he hops in the car and drives off, and just as he's driving off, I realise I've got the key to the unit in my pocket. So off he goes. I'm standing there talking to, various guests and whatnot. Anyway, 7 or 8 minutes later, Mark arrives back and he's carrying the bag. And I said, thank God. I said, you had your car keys on you, did you? And he goes, no, I didn't. He said, I had to go to the caretaker's hut next door, and thankfully he was home, and I was able to get him to open up the unit so I could get the car keys so I could open the car to get... Oh my God. So it was just crazy, absolutely crazy. So, after that, it all went off without a hitch. And
oh, my Lord.
And I got home and I told Kath the story, and she goes, you know your problem, don't you? And I went, what's that? She goes, you didn't have a woman there.
Yeah.
So,
oh dear.
Yeah, so that was a very eventful day.
God. The thing is, so much stuff was going on. You didn't have time to reflect and worry.
No.
You had shit just had to get done.
Exactly.
Oh God.
So, and the thing is, Mark and I were joking about it, that night, and he said, mate, you will never forget this weekend, It's like, absolutely not. We had so many laughs about it, as stressful as it was at the time,
Oh, man.
So,
Wow.
So come the Monday morning, I went back out to the cemetery because the niche wall faces east. So I got some nice, early morning sun landing on the niche wall. Got a couple of pics of Dad's, spot in the wall with his plaque there and some flowers beside it. And then, Mark and I went and had brekkie in town, and then he hit the road back to Perth and I hit the road home. And therein begins the next epic story, which we might just save for the next episode.
Oh, God.
It was crazy. It really was. So,
And by next episode, have some photos done.
I will. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have put one photo up as a cover photo on my Facebook
That was
page.
you leaning against the fair lane,
That's it.
blocking
Just
the nice scenery.
having just entered New South Wales, yeah. So
It's got this lovely scenery, people. You know, those sunsets, lovely golden light, and blocking the whole thing with his car and his body. Yeah,
I loved your wife's comment. says the man who won't take a landscape photo unless there's a person in it.
Yeah, but I was going to come back with, it depends on the person. You want someone good, and all we have was you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she's the smart ass. My trouble and strife. It's the reason I love her.
She's great.
God. Never backwards and coming forwards with a little slam.
Yeah, that's
Got to
it.
keep me in my place.
That's it.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love. But beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
I've got one thing I want to say just before, because it's kind of on point with what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
Is that my mate Seng from Perth, in Western Australia, who runs tours, had the thing happen that I've always dreaded on tour recently.
Okay.
And one of his clients died on tour.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's something because often the people going on photo tours, they're
quite
older. Yeah, and you're not always in the peakest of physical conditions.
Yeah,
and
right.
Devastatingly lost a client. and it was more than just a client, because it's such a small photo community, and this guy was so well known to everybody, and always the life of the party and helping everybody out and stuff. And yeah, so he's having a real tough time sort of coming to. He's got another tour backed up, so he has to go back out on tour again. But he's still having a tough time, sort of coming to grips with that, as you can imagine. So the poor bugger. So just send out a little bit of love to Sing, and as it happened on one of my India tours, where a guy was sharing a room with another guy, and the guy who was sharing with came down and says, "Look, I think we've got a problem. He's chest pains and he's looking pretty pale and not looking good, having had walked up 4 flights of stairs to get to his room, because it was an old English heritage hotel with no escalators. And fortunately he pulled through. Well, sort of fortunately, he wasn't a very nice guy, so it wouldn't be too much of a loss. But so that's always been my fear of what happens if something happens. And
so for Seng, where did this happen? Was it in Australia?
It sounded like it happened on a boat off Christmas Island, going from one island to another island.
Wow.
So he hasn't really been wanting to talk about it in much detail, as you could probably imagine.
Absolutely.
So I sort of left, trying to read between the lines sort of thing. But what a terrible thing to happen.
That's rough. That's very
terrible. But also on Seng, he posted something on the 8th of June on his page about this woman's complaining about a photographer. So this is actually photography related for the first time tonight, and saying that they contracted this woman photography to do 3 photo shoots for them: family photos, engagement photos, and their wedding photos. The family photos and engagement photos were done during the one shoot, and it's a month before the wedding.
Right.
Okay, I don't know why an engagement photo is a month before you. Anyway, maybe his alarm bell should have got off there and then. Anyway, we waited to do our family engagement photos until my fiance returned from military training.
Right.
We did our family engagement at this particular location called Silver Springs for the scenery, which is why we picked beautiful places to take photos. And the shoot went really well. They worked well with us and our son, who's 7, and they're just getting married now. Anyway, once done with the shoot, we waited for 6 days for the final photos, which to me doesn't sound very long.
No.
But apparently in their contract, it was supposed to be provided within 72 hours.
Oh,
which
okay.
I think you should not have that in your contract. But because of the great experience we had during the shoot, we let the delay of photos go by. But, there's always a but, Bruce. After reviewing the photographs, we were not happy with the amount of distortion in the background or foreground. Now, for those less photographically knowledgeable, what we mean when we say distortion is a technical term. I think the Japanese call it bokeh.
Yes.
Or blurry out of focus, lots of distortion in the background. We sent a message on the same day asking, can you reduce the amount of distortion in the background so we can see and appreciate the scenery? We're told the distortion in the photos was from the lenses that were used during the shoot and could not be reduced or changed. This was off-putting for us because every photographer that we've used in the past could adjust the amount of distortion in the background or foreground. Interesting. This also defeats the purpose of picking a beautiful place to do the pictures, which I have to agree with them, happens all the bloody time. With the wedding in mind, we did not want all of our photos distorted so badly that we couldn't see the scenery or the people in the wedding. And while the wedding couple is the focus of the wedding, it was far more important for us to see our guests' reaction and appreciate the natural beauty of the venue. Anyway, it goes on. During the phone conversation with the thing, we again explained that all we're looking for was less, if any, distortion in the background or foreground during the wedding. And during the phone conversation, we asked for samples, which they agreed to. And after 2 more days and 8 days until the wedding, no communication as to when we would receive said samples of non-blurry background. They said, look, we're really busy. It might take a couple more days. I said, well, don't worry, we're going to cancel the whole thing. And demanded a refund of everything. we should mention, they say, that every photo that we'd seen of theirs in their display albums had the same distortion in them.
Right. So you knew what you were getting.
With said distortion, and then the internet's gone just feral at these poor people. I mean, they've got a couple of good points. I mean, they were saying stuff like, we asked them to take the photos they had taken off social media and they hadn't done it. There were promised timeframes that weren't delivered. There's a few things that the photographer's not doing right as far as, and it doesn't matter how busy you are. If you make promises, you've got to find a way to make it happen. But as soon as we started talking about changing the style of photography, the photographer turned into a completely different person. My goodness, So it was just kind of funny that, it astounds me that people will see examples of someone's work, go, oh, I love that, that's what we want, and then they're given it. Yeah. And they go, no, that's not what we want. Yeah. We want what you've done, but we want it like we want it, not like you said you'd do it, and did do it.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was one thing. That's one thing I came across in the photography group. It was saying, and then I came across this other quick post about this charity event, weekend charity event on an $18 million yacht. Ooh. That was in the Gold Coast Photographers and Models page. Okay. I've gone, well, hey, why are they hiring an $18 million yacht for a charity? So I decided to look into it, and I could find nothing to do anywhere about where the charity part was or where the money for it. It was $3,000 for a 2-day event on this $18 million yacht. Wow! And they had all these inspirational speakers for the New World Order, the future New World Order people. I don't think it was actually the New World Order because that's a bit Hitlerian, but some of the speakers. This is a good one. This woman is an evangelist of positivity. So she's speaking. There's someone from In Truth Technologies. It's a little concerning. Okay. There's a transformational coach. Right. Marvellous. There's a multipreneur. I know. Multipreneur. There's a quantum healer. Which I think is a bit like a red healer, but different. And here's my favourite. A deep belief hacker. Right. And the CEO, co-founder of Australian Utilities Company, which doesn't sound. I think they're at the wrong place. Yeah, I think so. But oh my goodness, there's a New World Leadership. That's who they are. The New World Leadership, right. Which I thought that was just some of these titles. Yeah. Self derived. There's the New World Leaders. There we are. As a New World Leader, we act in alignment with our truth, inspire people to do the same, and find solutions that benefit the greater good in line with our own as individuals. What I love is that it said, we believe that everyone's already got the answers, and we just help them come out. Well, obviously, for $3,000, the answers I want is the answers is what's the numbers to next week's lotto? Yeah, absolutely. I don't need all 8s, just 6 or 7. I'm not asking for miracles. So that was something that amused me today, anyway. So nothing photographic related as far as that's concerned. Oh no, part of all the stuff that's happening on that 2 day, there is photography opportunities. So there you are. It is photography related.
Right. Okay.
I'm not sure what the photography opportunities were, but they were there.
Right. Excellent.
Anyway, that's me picking on people for making myself feel better about, I'm not them.
Well, all I had from Paul Sutton was some links to 3 sets of Pulitzer winners. Oh. I sent the links to you on the Skype chat.
Pulitzer.
So the first lot is from Marcus Yam from the Los Angeles Times. I don't know. Documentary photography just doesn't grab me. I don't know what it is.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I understand the need to tell a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine. And I get there's some drama in quite a bunch of these shots, which is pretty good, but as you say,
there's nothing really compelling about them to me.
The problem is, I think half the problem is we see so much imagery these days.
Yeah, well, that's probably
for something to stand out, and a lot of this stuff we've seen on the news anyway. So you see, it's like. Once upon a time, it used to be if you saw, let's say, photos from a war zone, that was the only images you ever saw from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now this works all on the US, the US Capitol insurrection.
Yeah, that's the second lot. Yeah,
as the second one. I've only got that. As a Mr. D. Trump said the other day, it was a protest that got a little out of hand. He also went on to say, but did you see what really annoyed him about that particular event, apparently, this is out of his words, was they don't show the crowds. They don't show how many people I was talking to. I think it was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken to. It was a protest that got a bit out of hand, but what really annoys me is they didn't show the crowds. I think it was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken. What a bloody... Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've only got the second one coming up, so I'm not sure where the first one is.
So you didn't get Marcus Yam, the Los Angeles Times?
I think I just clicked because they're all linked, all joined together. I think I just clicked the wrong.
Right. So the second batch was the January 6th riot, and then the
first one's where's Afghanistan? Yeah, I mean, these are important photos. You've got to document this stuff.
Yeah.
But who's a bit? It doesn't alter the average person. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I mean, these could be used for talks at the UN or talks to charity organisations to try and help fundraise to get relief into some all that kind of stuff. But I think we see so much of this type of imagery these days that we kind of just see it and we don't necessarily react to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would that be a fair statement? Do you think there has to be something? Now, if you most people would remember, I think, from a couple of years ago, the image of the small drowned child on the shores of wherever it was. There was a boat of refugees that had collapsed, and this kid had drowned and was just being washed around in the surf.
Oh, no!
Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw that image.
Yeah, you're glad you didn't, because you'll never not see it once you've seen it.
Yeah, right.
But that sent shockwaves around the world because it was so bleak,
confronting.
Yeah, but it wasn't like when you see a street with 20 dead bodies in it.
Yeah,
which we see all the time in photos.
Yeah,
I think they're very active of being washed back and forward in the waves.
Yeah,
like just
like
used
so
garbage.
Careless.
Yeah, and I think they had a big impact. So there'll be images that really have impact, but there'll be so many, that don't, because we've seen it. Yeah, man's inhumanity to man. How many times?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and then man's stupidity to man, which is what the January 6th stuff is.
Yeah, exactly.
That people who don't want to be sheep are being sheep. That's it. Yeah, everyone's a sheep except Rose, except the sheep. Political. And what's the last one? What's the last guy?
So the last batch is all about the effects of COVID in India.
Okay, yeah. It's
so again, I mean, yes, it's storytelling, but I don't know. They're they're just not images that have an impact on me. And I guess, as you say, well, I mean, we see so much of it and we're bombarded with it all the time. That maybe that's, maybe I'm just jaded.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I saw someone post today on Facebook about a car crash that happened in Australia, where a 13 and a 14-year-old kids had stolen the car and, whilst being idiots, had rolled it and one of them had died. And the guy said, well, you do stupid shit happens to you. Bad luck, who cares? And cold and hard, and that was going, oh my God, that's not stuff people seem to say anymore. But then 50 people came on and agreed with him.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's yeah. And I think we can all agree that, you do stupid shit. Sometimes consequences happen.
Yes.
But you're not going to necessarily wish that on anybody for something, because we've all done stupid shit in our lives.
Yeah.
and our kids have done stupid stuff, and our parents, and you wouldn't wish that sort of stuff on anyone. But the world is becoming so, I don't know,
jaded.
But it's also polar opposites. It's like callous on one hand and over the top, too much caring on the other hand. You know? And I saw a thing today. What was it?
It's you've raised that point before with regards media creation, that everything's getting shorter or longer, and there's nothing in the middle, and it's
it's the middle ground of everything seems to have gone.
Yeah.
I saw one of these posts of what do they call them? There's inspirational posts that people
like a meme.
Yeah, but it was just like writing, and trying once again, it's always trying to be inspiration, and you see Facebook is so full of that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and this one I saw today, and I've read it. The worst pain is looking at yourself in the mirror with tears in your eyes and thinking you're failed at everything. And I said, yeah, you've even failed at writing that down.
Yep.
Was it the teary eyes that means you hit R rather than V? I don't know. But this thing, the person who's posting on didn't even type that. That's actually like a proper meme that just cut and pasted. And it's wrong. It's like, oh, God. It's like...
They were tears of irony.
The worst pain for someone who suffers from looking at bad writing is seeing the bad spelling. It's like, oh my Lord, it does my head in. I look at it's like I showed my youngest tonight. Someone had posted on one of the gold prospecting pages I'm on. Thanks for accepting me to the group. Accepting. And I said to my 11-year-old, I said, what's wrong with that? She goes, oh, they spelled it wrong. I said, yeah, you get it. You're 11. She goes, it should be accepting. I said, yeah, I know. That's just, these are grown people, and you see that, it does my head. And then people go, oh, but I've got learning, and you don't know everyone's story, and I know, but that you don't know my story. It pains and hurts me to see that stuff.
Yes.
So I'm allowed to feel that. If you're allowed to say, well, I'm allowed to make bad spelling errors because I have an issue with stuff, well, then I'm allowed to feel bad and horrible and angry about it because I've got an issue with seeing it.
Yes.
It's a different type of obsessive bloody thing. Anyway.
Dear.
What a crazy episode this is.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. Did we mention? Just put those links for those because Paul's done all the hard work for us. Put links. I did spend a lot of time, I've got to say, looking through the photo news this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
With plan to talk about anything that I thought was interesting.
And you didn't find anything?
No, I just haven't talked about it because there was nothing there.
Yeah,
there was new cameras from Canon, there was new lenses, there was new rumours, and there's new flash trigger. This one works on a Leica. Hey! Someone sold the most expensive Leica. Yay! $15 million. Yay!
Yeah,
who cares?
It all gets a bit the same after a while, doesn't it?
I mean, I hope your talk with Joe was a bit more positive.
I hope it was too. I can't remember that far back.
Maybe we should do every second one. Joe comes on and lifts everyone back up, and I can back on and slam it all back down again.
We can do that.
Something along those lines. Oh well, that's our crappy episode for the week, isn't it?
That's it. That's it.
That's done and dusted and complete and utter garbage.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, well, it's not going to go down. We're not going to win a Pulitzer.
Probably not.
Or even a Nobel. Speaking of which, I've got to charge my Ring doorbell. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay.
Battery's flat.
Right.
Yeah. So at the moment, I've got Nobel. So you got a knock.
Boom, boom. Oh, mate, well, you have a good couple of weeks.
I'll do my bestest. I'm waiting for the hospital to tell me I've got to go in for my little bit of surgery.
Right.
And I'm in a 90-day window that's now I'm about 15 odd days into a 90-day window.
Right.
Where they'll call me up. So
sometime in the next 2 months.
Yeah. And that's what I think with COVID, they're like 10,000 things behind. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, crazy time. So we'll see. So,
all right, mate. Well, look after yourself.
I'll do my best. Yeah. If you don't hear from me, I should have a pithy final word on every episode just in case. So a girl I used to go out with. In fact, I married her. Ex-wife.
Right.
Her grandmother was going out with a guy. So he was not young, she wasn't young.
Yeah.
And they were down the lawn bowls one day, competition.
Yeah.
And he's laid down this bowl that apparently was a rip snorter.
Right.
Everyone's 60, 70 people. Oh, mate. Basil, fabulous job. And he's given a bit of a bow and he's come up for his next one and everyone's watching. He goes, if you thought the last one was good, watch this. He's turned around, laid his bowl down and just kept on going, face planted the ground, dead.
Oh, wow.
His last words were, if you think that was good, watch this, and everyone was watching.
Jeez.
It's not bad, is it?
That's the way to go.
Especially unplanned, unscripted. It's not, Yeah, your centre of attention, you've just laid down the bowl that's probably going to be hard to beat anyway. And bang, and a great final. I mean, I'd have that engraved on my my niche wall plaque.
Yes.
It's not quite the same, really, when you say it like that. It's on my niche wall plaque. And, or you could be like Spike Milligan, whose tombstone says, "I told you I was sick."
Yes.
Something. So I'll finish off with, hey everyone, I've got some big news, huge news, biggest news ever. Going to tell you next episode.
Awesome.
There you go. And I'll keep putting it off. Hopefully for another 530 odd episodes. But it was like, all right, dude. Lovely night and rest of your week.
Thank you. You too. And we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.